Good morning. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Went Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning. I'm Agam Akil, and here are the top headlines this hour. Indian markets retrace, the Nifty falls below 10,100 and the India VIX advances further. But fresh shorts continue to accumulate in Just Dial as its December futures open interest also increases further. And it's good news for auto component makers like Bharat Forge and Ramkrishna Forging, with US multi-axle truck sales rising by more than 60% in the month of November. And schools and colleges in Mumbai are shut after the state government issues a weather warning with Cyclone Oki approaching.
Okay, let's take a look as to what's happening with the futures and options market. But weakness actually continues for markets. You've got both the benchmarks as well as the broader markets, which have come under pressure in today's trade. As we speak, Nifty is trading with cuts of 48 points. The premium on the Nifty December futures in the last 3 to 4 sessions has been contracting. So currently, the premium stands at around 21 points, and the December futures are just about holding up that mark of 10,100. Well, overall, if you look at the markets, both Nifty as well as the Bank Nifty, it's been making lower highs and lowered lows in the past 4 trading sessions. And if you include today's session, it could be the 5th session as well, because we have breached yesterday's low of about 10,096 on Nifty. And watch out for the 100-day moving average on the downside for Nifty, which stands somewhere about 10,067. So if that gets breached today, probably you could see more selling pressure coming about. With regard to the option strikes, call writing continues for strikes like 10,200 and 10,300 as well. Most importantly, the 10,000 put strike, which has over 80 lakh shares of which are still open right now. So that strike's not seen much of an addition, but remember, 10,000 is a crucial support for Nifty, and if that gets breached, probably there could be intense selling pressure which could come about. I also want to pull up India Volatility Index. That's been going up in the past few sessions, and once again it's off the opening lows, and India VIX has surged 1.5%. It's trading above the mark of 15, and it's up for the 4th straight session. So volatility continues to be on the higher side. Let's look at Bank Nifty then. It's breached the 25,000 mark in today's session. Remember, 25,000 was a key support level for Bank Nifty. In fact, on the downside now, you will have the 50-day moving average, which is 24,933 to be watched out. It just missed that level, but remember, it's trading very close to that mark, 24,955 currently on the Bank Nifty. What are the institutions doing? And Agam, I've been watching the FI data in the last 2 sessions. It's just the start of the new series. They've been taking a lot of short positions on the option side. If you look at the data, they're buying a lot of puts, and they've been writing a lot of calls.
A lot of calls. I agree, Navneet. And, you know, we've seen a continuation of trend in stock futures as well. So let's take a look at something like a Just Dial or a Biocon. In fact, let's pull up that list of, you know, counters which is seeing a substantial increase in open interest. And there you have it. Just Dial and Biocon are right at the top with a continuation of accumulation in open interest. Of course, not too much change when it comes to its underlying. And Hexaware again continues to be right at the top of the list with a 17% increase in open interest. Bank of India and RB Infra among the others, which are also looking at some increase in open interest for the December futures. But let's also take a look at some stocks which are looking at unwinding, and well, not too much to speak for there. Nestle India just about 1% declines, but other than that, Cholamandalam, NBCC, Torrent Pharma and M&M Financial all looking at less than 1% in open interest for unwinding. So Navneet, I suppose focus will continue to remain on the likes of Just Dial and Biocon, and of course Hexaware.
In fact, Just Dial saw a lot of short build-up in yesterday's trading session. So let's see whether there can be any sort of recovery or not. The stock's just about managed to trade flattish currently at about 492. So it's off day's low, but open interest continues to surge. It's up almost 10%. Okay, then before we get our guest on the show, here's a reminder. If you have any queries regarding the futures and options market, you can call us now on 022-4540-4141. You can also write to us on Twitter, Facebook with AskBQ hashtag. Let's welcome our F&O experts for the day then. Rahul Shah of Motilal Oswal Securities and Abhijit Phatak of Definet Solutions joins us on the show now. Good morning to both of you gentlemen and appreciate you joining us today on Bloomberg Quinn. Abhijit, let me come to you first. If you look at the template of the market in the last 4 sessions, we've seen both Nifty as well as Bank Nifty registering lower highs and lower lows. Does it suggest that there could be further correction because the India Volatility Index is just not cooling off? It's trading above the mark of 15.
Yes, there have been lower highs, lower lows, but then I don't think that is any cause for any alarm, and the market is quite oversold right now, and I would strictly advise against any fresh shorts at this stage. Of course, it's not a place to buy as of now because there is no reversal signs yet, but fresh shorts also might be a bit risky at this stage.
Rahul, good morning to you. How about you? Are you expecting some consolidation when it comes to the benchmark indices?
Good morning. I think the way we saw in the last expiry, I think the outperformer or maybe the entire series what we talk about was the outperformance was in the Bank X. And the Bank Nifty has been underperforming in this series since continuously last 3 days. The stock index has been falling % or a % and more. So my sense is in 25,200 was a crucial level for Bank Nifty which is broken. So I think the underperformance in Bank X will continue and which will drag down the Nifty. And interestingly, if you look at, I think Nifty has broken the 50-day DEMA and that shows some negative sign. So my sense is that we might see more downside from the current levels in the Nifty from the current levels.
Well, the PSU banking space has been quite weak. If you just pull up that index, the Nifty PSU banking index, that's down almost 1%. And yesterday, where it was the day for the private banks to be weak, today's the day for the Nifty PSU banking stocks. That index is down almost 1%. Okay, then let's shift our focus to Options Corner and get you some option strategies for the day. Abhijit, you have a buy call on 10,300 call strike. Could you take us through your target and stop losses there?
Yes, I am expecting Nifty. I mean, it will be weak only on a close below 10,050. So at this stage, it might be worth buying a naked 10,300 call, which is right now about 63. So any dip near 60, 63 can be bought with a stop loss below 10,050 on the spot. And if market reverses, this call can go towards 100 or even 140 in the coming days.
Abhijit, considering there is so much volatility in the market, let's say if somebody wants to take this position and if they also want to hedge this position, how would you recommend them to do that?
Hedging by buying a put is out of question because, as I said, it won't pay much. Maybe he can sell a 10,400 call for that, which is at about 36. But at the same time, he should have a stop loss on the 10,400 call as well, because even if 10,300 call rises, he won't make much profit if 10,400 calls also starts rising. So that's why the risk right now is only just about 4,000, 5,000 rupees on a naked call. So he can hedge it by after it rises towards 100, and there he can sell a 10,400 call.
Okay, Rahul, you are recommending to buy the Nifty Bank puts. Can you take us through that?
As I said, that I think the underperformance is into Bank X, and I still feel that 25,200 broken and it shows a lot of weakness. And also, if I go to the option data, where I feel that the risk to reward is favorable while going shorting. So I think the best way to play the downside is I think buying a puts. So I think this week's expiry at 25,000 put, I would recommend to buy, which is around 160 or so or levels. Keep a stop loss of 135 and target of 200.
Okay, so Rahul has a call on Bank Nifty. Let's also talk about some active stock futures in today's trading session, and Infy is having a good week. Yesterday's losses on Nifty were capped because of Infy's movement of almost 3%. Remember, that has weightage of about 5% on the index. Infy is currently trading with gains of about 1.3%, inching. The spot is inching very closer to the 4-digit mark. Not much of open interest build-up seen, and looks like the futures are trading with mild bit of discount. Rahul, I'll come to you for emphasis. At these levels, would you recommend taking any sort of fresh long positions?
I think I definitely entire tech stocks. If you look at, first we saw a good run up in mid cap stocks and then followed by the large caps, and specifically Infosys. So I still feel that the Infy can still move up 3-4% from the current levels. So I would suggest that positional traders should look at buying Infy at a lower from the current levels.
Okay, I'm not sure. Should we go to live query? Yeah, I think we're going to take one live query, and this one comes from Facebook from Anay Joshi, and he has a query on NCC futures, and he's long one lot at around 111.85. His question is, should he hold or book profit? Abhijit, your view on NCC, and if you could also tell Anay what to do with NCC futures at around 111. So he is clearly sitting on a profit right now, considering it's trading at around 118.8. What can I do?
Yes, NCC is quite strong on the futures, and he can use a stop loss of at his cost 113, 114 and hold it.
Okay, so that's the call coming in on NCC. But if you look at a couple of other stock futures, pull up Cholamandalam Finance. It stumbled almost 3.5% in today's trade. That will just come up on your screen. Cholamandalam Finance is the counter we are talking about. 1,249 is the rate that we are looking at this. Rahul, it's down almost 3.5%. Cholamandalam, is there any sort of fresh trade that somebody can look at on this counter?
I think financials, as I said, so I think that's showing some weaknesses, and very few NBFCs in that space has been outperforming. So in that space, I think PL and Shriram Transport are slightly better than Chola in terms of, if you look at the future open interest and as well as the technical movements of the stocks. So Chola, I think we've seen some kind of longs unwinding happening from the current days, so, but no signs of going short at current levels. So I think shorting definitely I would avoid, but longs one can unwind in Cholamandalam.
You know, one stock, Navneet, that we keep addressing on the futures and options space time and again, every 3 to 4 sessions, that is Hexaware. It's again at the top of the list when it comes to open interest increase, and it's, of course, the stocks moved up considerably. Can we pull up Hexaware and take a look at what it's doing right now? The underlying is once again up nearly 3%. Its open interest has increased 18%. Abhijit, my question with Hexaware would be, at what point in time would you become a little more concerned, because the stock has already run up? Are there more legs to the rally on a technical basis, and what would you advise your viewers to do with Hexaware right now?
Hexaware is one of the very strong stocks, and it is if it closes above 340 today, it will be another breakout, and if it closes above 340, it can go towards 355. In fact, it was one of my buys also near 335. It has already gone towards 345 in the first 1 hour. So any dip towards 345 can be bought with a stop loss of 330, and a close above 340, that position can be carried forward for a target of 355, 360.
Okay, well, it's that time of the show when we address our viewer queries. Our first caller is Shankar, calling us all the way from Bangalore. Hi Shankar, good morning to you, and thanks a lot for calling us today. Tell us what you want to know from our experts.
Good morning to you as well. I'm long on Infosys December futures at rupees 970. What should I do?
Okay, we've already discussed Infosys on the show, and I guess Rahul had a long call on it, and also considering the IT pack has been outperforming. I'll take this query to Abhijit then. Abhijit, he's very much in the money. 970 is where he bought the December futures, which are currently trading about the levels of 990. Do you think he should book his profits, or he can look for higher levels?
Yeah, Infosys might go higher. He can hold it with a stop loss below 980, which is the low of the today, this morning. And with a stop loss of 980, he can look for targets of 1020 and 1040.
There you have it, Shankar. You can hold on. You can keep a stop loss around 980, and with targets of well over 1,000 from current levels. So, of course, there were a lot more queries, but I'll take one from social media, and this one is from Rahul Diwan, who writes to us on Facebook, and he wants to get an idea on the selling target for Yes Bank. Now, can we take a look at Yes Bank and where it's trading at right now? 303. Well, it's largely flattish, marginally in the red for now. Rahul, what is your view on Yes Bank, and would you advise Rahul Diwan to go short on Yes Bank? If yes, what would be your targets and stop losses?
I think obviously Yes Bank has been a laggard in last series as well, and then we saw a good rally in BankX. The stock was underperforming, and again with the downfall in BankX, the stock has obviously underperformed. So my sense is it can still go further down, so I would advise him to go short on Yes Bank at current levels, keep a stop loss of 307 and target of 290.
Okay, Yes Bank is trading around the levels of 302. Remember, this counter was a bit weak in yesterday's session as well. Okay, it's time to get our next caller on board. Arshi Ahmed is calling us from Mumbai. Hi Arshi, good morning. Tell us what's your query on.
I have Nifty 10,300 call at rupees 101. What should I do?
You have Nifty 10,300 strike, call strike, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Abhijit, I think that was your option strategy of the day as well. Do you think she should hold? Because the premium around where she bought is 101 and currently that premium has fallen to about 65. What do you think she should average or just hold on?
Yes, she can average because I don't expect Nifty to fall further. It is quite oversold and there should be a bounce in the coming days. And once she averages here, her average cost will come to 80. So she might get her original cost of 100 at least as a target on it.
Okay, there you have it, Arshi. You can go ahead and average, but do keep your stop losses alive and have absolutely strict ones considering you are trading in options. But we'll move on, and we have Amol Vag, who's bought Granules India 130 December's call at 4.6, and should he hold or sell? Granules India 130 December call. It's currently trading at around 124.5, about 6 points short of 130. So Rahul, I'm going to come to you on your view on Granules India. What can he do with his position in Granules right now?
I think I would advise him to hold on. I think we've seen Granules India has been comparatively much more outperformance and rather than the entire pharma space if you look at it. And though overall pharma space does not look like the pharma index, if you look like still shows a lot of weakness over it. If you look at Granules again compared to it, the stock has a support at around 121 or so. So I don't think so. The stock will retest again. So I think I would advise him to hold on. Stock can test again 130 or so levels in this series.
Okay, that's the call coming in on Granules India. We're getting some live queries. Vivek Agarwal has written to us on YouTube. He's asking if we could discuss the reasons for this volatility in the market. Well, Vivek, there are a host of factors that markets have turned jittery. You've got the RBI policy meet, where largely there's an expectation that it will be a status quo, but it is the hawkish tone that the market will be keenly watching out with regard to the policy this time around. And not only that, US Fed as a meeting, and Agam, the GDP numbers from US were really good, and I think emerging markets have been underperforming if you compare it to the developed markets like US. So there is that fear whether the fund allocation, the institutions could be shifting money from let's say emerging markets to developed markets. So that's another factor, and plus domestic factors like Gujarat elections. So do watch out for that as the counting starts on 18th of December. So probably ahead of all these crucial events, you're seeing some bit of jitters in the market. But I'll also take this question to our expert, Abhijit. I know your view is that the markets may not fall from these levels, but in terms of data, whatever you're tracking, is there anything that you're sensing with regard to a major sell-off which could come about, let's say, if the result of Gujarat election is not in favor of BJP?
I don't think, as I said, since it is a short-term oversold market, there should be a bounce, and only if it cannot cross 10,300, then there can be a further decline. But I don't think it will cross, close below 10,000. Worst case, 99.50. I'm not very bearish at these levels at all.
Okay, not bearish at these levels. We'll address yet another query, and this one comes from on YouTube. From Aniket Danve, and he wants to get an update on Dr. Reddy's. Any update at all? Rahul, what's your view on Dr. Reddy's? If you can tell Aniket anything about the levels that you're keeping in mind or on, because it's currently trading at 2,220. It's looking at a decline around 1.3%. What are the levels you would watch out for when it comes to Dr. Reddy's?
I think the entire pharma sector, earlier also I discussed that it looks more of a negative trend in overall pharma index. So when you come to the biggies like Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy or Lupin, all of them are showing a weakness. So I think Dr. Reddy, I think the support is around 2170 or so. So maybe the stock can take a support toward that levels, and but stock, one should avoid any building up position in the pharma space as a whole. But in case if you have a holding, then I think 2170 is a stop loss one should maintain if you're on long on it.
So avoid building any sort of position in the pharma space is the call coming from Rahul. Nitesh has written to us on Twitter. He's saying he's got DLF 240 call strike at a premium of 8 rupees. He wants to know what should be the target and stop loss here. And can we check what DLF is doing? Because this is the counter which has been actually doing it's been outperforming its peers, I would say. Even in a weak market, we've not seen a high beta counter like DLF crashing. There were certain upgrades also coming about where the few of the analysts are pretty confident that the company is working towards reducing its debt. Rahul, the premium on that strike currently is about 7, and I think Nitesh has taken a position when the premium was 8. If you could just guide him, what should be his target and stop loss here?
I think you should continue to hold on DLF. If you look at DLF, it's trading near its 252-week high into that band. So I think technically stock is very well poised. So and sector also is doing quite well. So I think DLF can go to 240 or so odd levels. That's what my call is. So one should keep a stop loss of 222 unless if it's break that, then one should unwind his call option positions, or else I would advise him to continue to hold on DLF.
Okay, another query on Facebook is from Arun Bhatti, and it's not really clear if he has sold the Tata Power at around 89, of the futures of Tata Power at 89 or no, but he wants to get an idea of what can be done with Tata Power should one sell it at 89. It's currently trading at 89.15 with a little bit of increase in open interest. The stock has declined by as much as 1.2%. Abhijit, what's your view on this one? Should Arun Bhatti go ahead and sell Tata Power at these levels? And if yes, what levels would you keep an eye on?
I'm looking at 85 to 87 on Tata Power futures for it to reverse. So right now it is at 89. So he can use a stop loss of 90 and go short for a target of 87, which is not a big trade in any case. So if you ask me, I would advise against going short, but wait for it to dip towards 87 and go long with a stop loss below 85.
Okay, that's the call on Tata Power. The counter is trading with cuts of over 1% in today's session. Well, those were our viewer queries. Let's shift to our next segment where we get you some trading strategies for the day. Rahul, I'll throw it to you. What are the individual stocks, any strategies that you've lined up for today?
I think in yesterday's trade, I think star of the day was Biocon. So against the entire pharma space, this stock has been done quite well, and I think stock is at a lifetime high, and future positions, if I look at it, the stock is very well poised. So I think still there's a room to make money on a higher side, going long on it. So I would go long on Biocon with a stop loss of 492 and target of 530. Second stock is Maruti. I think Maruti again, this has done quite well in the entire auto space. So I would go long on Maruti with a stop loss of 84.10 and target of 86.75.
Okay, so views on Maruti and Biocon. Abhijit, how about you? What would you advise our viewers to do in today and perhaps over the next few sessions?
Yeah, even I have two buy calls, one of which Hexaware has already run up more than 3%, but any dip towards 340 can be used to buy it. And as long as it closes above 340, it can go towards 355, 360. And the other buy call is DLF, which can be bought right now. It is 231, 232. So any dip towards 229, 230 can be bought with a stop loss of 225. And even DLF, once it closes above 235, that will be a good breakout, maybe for a target of at least 250.
Okay, so a long call on Hexaware as well as DLF stocks, which we've already discussed on the show. On that note, gentlemen, would like to thank both of you, Rahul as well as Abhijit, for joining us today and taking our viewers, in fact, helping them with their queries and giving your views in the futures and options market. Okay, let's move on. Film entertainment company Eros International is planning to raise $100 million in equity-linked financing to repay amounts outstanding under its revolving credit facility. We spoke to Jyoti Deshpande, Group CEO of Eros International PLC, to understand the rationale behind this move. Let's listen in.
So it's 3-year money, and there are certain options that we have in how we can settle this. It's like a convertible bond, and $100 million of proceeds, and in 3 years we have to repay $122.5 million. So depending on where the share price is where the dilution will come. So too early to call that now. Significant amount of money will go into slate expansion, etc. about half of the proceeds will go into repaying an existing revolving credit facility, and the other half will be available for slate expansion, etc. And of course, IROS now. So you can say at least $25 million will be infused to expand the slate.
That was the management of IROS International PLC. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of F&O Show. Stay tuned in the Bloomberg Quint. There's lots more lined up.